Hello and welcome to PPC Live, the podcast. I'm your host, Anu, the founder of PPC Live. And if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. Every week, I speak to a different PPC expert about one of their biggest F-ups or something, and an F-up that they've been a part of and experienced, but also how things turned around, how they shaped things up, how people got involved, people helped, or maybe people were in the way of that. And today we have a fantastic story about someone who talks about how the client was certainly in the way. And I feel that this might even be one of those episodes that's more about, picking the right client, because you want a client that's going to really listen to you. That's the purpose of hiring experts, to bring them on and listen to what they have to say. But yeah, we get this story from Dean, who is paid media expert, who was the head of the team, and the client just wasn't paying attention to him. So yeah, let's go speak to Dean. Hello, Dean. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
It's such a pleasure, and I can't not ever not thank our guests that come in, most of them on the fly, last minute, so there's no time to make sure we've got like a fully polished story. We're gonna give you a real story today, another true real story about a mistake that Dean has come across, and dealing with annoying clients. I actually think that it's been a while we've done a dealing with annoying clients story. And I love those. Those are some of the spiciest ones. And you're like, oh, yes, it just makes you, so this can be really cathartic for our guests. So I'm really glad that Dean has decided to join us today. And yeah, and again, as usual, just rambling on without actually introducing you first. Our guest, Dean Kadi here, is a fantastic head of paid growth at One Lake Media. They're a digital growth agency that's AI native, meaning that they're building to move faster and working smarter across both paid and organic, meaning they can, free up their strategic thinking time and really bring amazing solutions for their clients. He specializes in building and scaling paid social programs that drive real business outcomes, from awareness all the way through to conversion. He's got a hands-on approach to strategy, creative, and data. Dean actually helps brands cut through the noise and turn ad spend into measurable growth. Because yeah, it's all about the growth. It's all about making sure that we're taking care of our clients' budgets. He's also, he's a Manchester local. Those who have gone to the events like Performance MCR that the very lovely Charlie Brennan runs would have seen him speak there. So he's really one of those that's very generous with his knowledge. And that's why, he's no surprise. It's no surprise that he'll be on a podcast like this, because bread and butter is trying to figure out what's going on and making sure, our industry is also keeping up to date with what we're doing well here. So welcome, Dean. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And before we get into our story, one of my favorite bits, fun facts. What's your fun fact, Dean?
Fun fact. I've actually got two fun facts for you, because I just like giving. So the first one is that I actually won a bronze medal at the age of 7 in a karate tournament.
Nice.
I actually would have gotten higher, but I was actually disqualified from the tournament because I broke my opponent's nose.
No.
So I was disqualified on points. Points are done on like a touch basis.
Yeah.
And then because and I didn't mean to break his nose, but because it happened,
really,
I
are
was
you
disqualified.
sure?
So that's number one. And number two, I actually completed the Sheffield Half Marathon in March in support of Ashgate Hospice, and I got a personal best of 1 hour and 53.
Amazing. So how long is a half marathon again?
Half marathon is 21.1 km or something around that. I probably should know that number off the top of my head.
Obviously, because you've run it, you've ran the whole of it. Bless her. Yeah, I will always be impressed, but never tempted by those two marathons. And good on you guys. It's a very I'm impressed. It's such a stamina to just keep going. I'll start running, and after 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, give me a cocktail I'm done. So yeah, amazing that you did that and raised money. It's such a fantastic way of giving back to different charities. But yeah, so and I'm sure people will identify with that. And as much as we're all about giving, like this time we hear about listening and hearing about the mistakes that have been made in the past and what should have been done differently. And I really actually like Dean's angle because, yeah, we've done a lot, and several people have come in and said that this is what I did, this is what went wrong. But we also learn a lot from when we've dealt with, being our arms have been twisted by a client demanding something that they think that they know well. And this is really a true story of like when you hire experts, listen to them. Is that so hard? Clients, if you're listening to this episode, if you've hired an expert, listen to them, please. So even before we get started, there you guys, so you have your lesson. Even if you don't hear anything else, guys, listen to the experts you hire. So yeah, let's hand this over to our expert today, Dean. Yeah, what's the F up that you'd like to share today?
Yeah. So as you've just mentioned there, this is less about something that I've done and more about a situation that was forced upon me and the agency. I'm watching it unfold in real time, knowing exactly what was going to happen.
Mm,
So we were working with a premium brand. We'd spent months building out a proper UGC program for the client, testing hooks, using different creators, formats, demos versus talking heads, writing the scripts, putting in some real graft. And we got some brilliant results on the account. It's taken the account from like a 2.1 times ROAS to kind of between hovering around the 3 to 4 range at this point in
yeah.
time. So we had 10 to 15 ads in the Meta account, all hitting above KPI. So some genuine winners. And then out of nowhere, the client just asked us to pause all the ads that were running in Meta. No performance reason, no brand conflict. They just didn't want to run UGC anymore.
Okay. And on what
So,
platform is this running?
so this is specific on Meta. We were running Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, and a couple of others. But the PPC ads, of course, not as visual heavy. So yeah, this is in regards to Meta.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we
Go on.
won't give in a full explanation. I think maybe someone internally wasn't a fan, but yeah, they just said, look, performance is great, but we want to be more heavily branded. We think the brand needs to be featured more.
May I
So
ask, are you allowed to say which brand this was? This company was? Is it a well-known brand?
I mean, it's somewhat well known. I have spoken about the gym before. It's actually a company called Rubio Monaco.
Okay. All right. I've not heard of them. Who knows? Maybe others have.
I may have not done my job well enough, or maybe not part of the audience that we was trying to target.
Exactly. I might not be. Well, so what's the product? What is it that they're selling?
So it's a premium wood oil.
Okay.
So it's like a
Yeah.
wood finishing oil. It's like the
Sure.
final kind of coat that you put on there.
Okay.
If you're a hobbyist or professional or like really into woodworking, you would be quite familiar with the brand. But if you're
Right
not,
now.
then probably not
Yeah,
so
I'm
much.
not. So that's it. You did your job well. I'm not the audience. It would be a shocker if I knew about that. To be
See,
fair.
this is why you can't listen to Meta when they tell you to put on A plus targeting, right?
Honestly, right? Yeah, yeah. But go on, tell us. So, like, how, like, you guys had been running very good performance for like, weeks, months, kind of thing. Um, and the client just had a meeting with like your manager, the head of your team, going, "We want to change things round." And what was their reasoning?
So I was the head of the team at this point,
Sure.
and it was actually quite casual for where they kind of brought it up. It's like, yeah, new content's great, and get into this a little further down the line in this conversation, but there's definitely delay in getting new creative signed off and
Yeah.
scripts signed off and budgets for the creators.
Yeah.
And then kind of one of the calls was like, yeah, we've been thinking about this actually, and what we'd like to do is pause all UGC ads. and we've actually created you some ads that we'd like you to run.
Okay.
These were static ads, some carousel types, and a couple of video, but all very, very heavily branded, did not look native to the platform. Like if you
No.
looked at it, you would think, I'm looking at an ad right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Which puts a lot of people off, and rightfully so. You know, you
yeah,
want ads to feel native to the platform.
yes.
So when we was given these videos, it wasn't just the content itself, it was actually the messaging within the content.
Mm,
So the client had run a survey once and discovered that people liked them, or the people in this survey liked them because they had a large range of colours.
yeah,
And they kind of took this to mean everybody likes the fact that they've got a lot of colours. And that was like a core messaging point. Through our testing, um, and the kind of creative testing framework that I developed, we discovered that the real, or one of the main drivers of purchases was the fact that you actually only needed to apply one coat of this product.
yeah,
So the time saving angle was actually the biggest USB.
yeah.
Because after you spend like a lot of time, I mean, I'm not much of a woodworker or decorator or anything myself, but I imagine the last thing you want to do after spending a lot of time on a project is spend even more time with the final
Yeah,
layer.
yeah,
So I'd lost my beautiful content I'd worked so hard to put together, and I'd also lost my winning angle.
yeah, yeah.
So
So in that conversation, would you say, did you communicate that to the client? Were you like, guys, I know that you guys have come up with this imagery that you want to test, and one person has said that colors is your angle, but we have been testing this, and it's because that's the thing. It's all about, you'd hope a brand will want to listen to their customers and actually understand that. Did they hear you? Did you tell them? And if you told them, what was their response to that?
so I would say that I was heard but not listened to. It was more of a, yeah, well, you know, that may be the case, but we want to see how this goes.
Mm,
And we'd prefer this to be a winner.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
in
they
situ
said that we'd prefer this to be a winner. Don't they realize that's not how it works? It's all about what's going. Oh my god!
well,
Sorry, I'm just
this
incredulous with the
this is
story.
the thing
Mm,
with PPC and even life in general, right?
yeah.
You know, you can want something as much as you'd like, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No. No.
So, in this kind of situation, what I would advise people to do is back up your point, don't back down, you know, don't argue with the client, but
Yeah.
make your points heard.
Oh,
Like you are the professional, you are the expert, you're
yeah.
being paid for your time, your knowledge, your skill set.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if they choose not to listen or to act against your best advice, um, what I would just kind of recommend is let the data talk,
Yeah.
which is what we agreed to on the call. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you want this to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. No one else thinks this is going to happen,
Yeah.
but we'll try it and
We'll try.
we'll see
Yeah.
what the results are. Because I've learned in my time in this industry that that's just the best option. Like no matter how
Yeah.
many emails you send or calls you go on or anything, you can just tell when people aren't going to change their mind.
Yeah.
And it was more than just one person on the team that wanted to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people they're just like literally they're like, it's our budget. We are the ones that knows best. Like we want to do this. So just going ahead. I think one thing, a little add I'll make to, for people listening, in terms of like, yeah, you're right. Don't argue, but make sure you're very firm with your point. Make sure you also get all that in writing. Don't,
Yes.
write it down. Make sure that it's clear so that they can't come back and be like, oh, well, we didn't understand what you were trying to tell us, blah, blah, blah. Make sure it's in black and white that you advised against this new idea they're coming with that was gonna fail. Um, yeah, yeah, that must have been really annoying. So, how quickly did it take for it to be clear that their new idea had tanked?
The signs were quite obvious to myself within the first couple of days, really. I think when launching new ads and meta, you got the learning phase and you always know your first kind of 7 to 10 days
Yeah.
aren't really going to be great. I mean, kind of around the 14-day mark, you kind of got an idea of where performance is going.
Mm,
And I think the whole kind of situation actually went on for about 8 weeks or so.
gosh.
Um,
Oh gosh.
which is quite, it's quite disheartening for our team as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the kind of work that we put in to build those great numbers and KPIs had kind of come undone,
Yeah.
and letting the data talk is great, and if the data doesn't get any better, that's not so great.
No.
So we can't continue to stall out.
Yeah.
However, it was just on Meta. The other platforms where things hadn't changed were still
Right.
ticking along as
Fantastic.
well, which did alleviate some of the stress,
Mm,
but it just kind of pointed more towards the problem of being like, well, we know what's going wrong on this specific platform, and we have the answer to get it right again. You're just not allowing us to showcase that.
yeah.
But of course, it's not just a case of letting the ads run and then
Mm,
hoping for the best. Even when you know it's bad, there's still things you can do.
yeah.
One of the things that we did was try it out to various different audiences,
Mm,
just interest-based targeting, A plus, um, different kinds of group targeting,
mm,
lookalikes.
yeah.
Uh, there are still levers that you can pull.
Yeah.
We didn't get excellent performance. We got slightly better performance.
Mm,
And then after a couple of weeks of this, when it was kind of clear it wasn't going anywhere else, and we'd used up all the content they'd given us, and you know, we'd shown the metrics. It's not just a case about showing the data; it's using that data to tell a story.
mm,
So when we're like, look, these ads ran for 14 days, and we're achieving, a cost per purchase at this price versus these have been running the
yeah.
same amount of time, but this cost price is like 5 times, 4 times. Like this is quite telling, and it's not just one set or one ad set or one campaign. It's
Yeah.
multiple of these, and using all those to tell that story.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like it's just really important to that people see like what an integrated strategy and how it's important to make sure all the different levers, all the different things are working, together and working well together and not to mess that up. Do you feel like though, because one thing that I am very big on, on communicating that people don't get how campaigns work, different channels work together. So if one channel starts, badly performing, you might see that your Google campaign, even though it's Meta that changed, your Google campaign starts failing. Do you feel like your Google ads also started was dragging back a little bit, but there was no good reason for it to be dragging back apart from what Meta?
So that is really common,
Yeah.
but in this case, we actually didn't see much of that, and that's mainly due to the fact that Google were running primarily brand campaigns.
Okay.
Meta was for prospecting. I think a lot of people can relate to this, but using Google for prospecting premium products just really isn't ideal. So yeah, with those campaigns being mostly branded, we didn't really see too much of a change in performance there.
All right. And like you didn't change, and you said again, you didn't change any of the creators of the Google campaigns. They stayed the same with all the really good creators that you put in to test.
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
amazing. So tell us when the performance. At what point did the client then go? You said it took them 8 weeks for it to turn around. Did you guys stop it, or did they admit? Oh,
Sorry, can you repeat? I think we hit a
yeah,
technical snag there.
yeah. There's what I was asking was, has did the client, turning things round, it took 8 weeks for it to turn around. Did the client admit they proposed the wrong strategy? Like at what point, what then led to them going, okay, let's stop it. Let's go back to what was working well.
So again, I think most people can relate to this, but I can count on one hand the amount of times a client has said they'd made the wrong
You're right.
decision or they'd made a mistake. Um, I
Uh,
think it was alluded to that they may have made a poor decision.
alluded.
But no, we're all very, very, very great team over there. So yeah, we got the data and it was like, look, we sat down across meetings and you do your weekly reports and your monthly reports. It's like, look, almost 2 months of data here and we're down. It's not getting better. We've tried the creative you've asked us to use. Let's start testing some of the previous
Yeah.
some of the previous creative we had in there. Start getting some of those old ad campaigns back on. And switching back, and we'll see how much of a performance impact this has.
Yeah.
And within again 2 weeks, it was really clear the fact that UGC was the right call.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. God came back 2 weeks in. We're back. We're back on track.
We're so back.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, yeah, and I know you've given some already. Like if someone is going through this and they've just come and received the being told by a client, we're going to turn off all your good work. We're going to bring something in. What's your advice to them?
I'd say, firstly, don't make it personal with a client.
Yeah.
If you don't understand why a decision is being made, just ask.
Mm.
Even if the answer is uncomfortable, because the numbers will eventually say what you couldn't,
Yeah.
and you want to be ready to have that conversation from a place of evidence and not emotion.
Mm.
I'd say in the meantime, keep your data clean and just document everything from a moment that something feels off.
Yeah. Yeah. Document anything. And what for you, like, has that ever happened again before? Is there another client that has been like that with you?
Not to the kind of same extent, but you always have these kind of battles with
Mm.
clients, especially if they've got some marketing experience themselves.
Yeah.
Even though you're part of an agency and you're leading the strategy, of course, people always want to have input and
Yeah.
suggest ideas, but I kind of use the same framework that I did with that client, which is make sure points are heard,
Mm.
agree that if it's something that they really want to try, you can try it or go with a limited budget, perhaps,
Yeah.
and kind of take it from there. Or what I tend to do is I put a lot of time into researching and putting docs and emails together. I think everyone in my team knows I love a doc. I
Okay.
do love it. I do love putting a doc together. I love a bit of research.
Nice.
So I will put together a 1 page or 2 page and like, look, you've requested this. I don't think it's the best idea, or elements of it are good, but I think we could tweak things slightly. Putting that in together into a doc, airing your thoughts across, and then asking for a call to go through that. A lot of the time, when people have suggested a thought or idea, they may have not have put too much thought into that,
Yeah.
or have considered the consequences of that, which is my job to do.
Yeah.
So when you can kind of explain that, the potential downsides and potential negatives, then it's great. I also do the same if someone suggests an idea that I think is great as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's a good idea, I've gone away, done a bit more research, done some planning. Here's what I think will work. Here's what we
Mhm.
maybe need to adjust. Here's the plan going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. And yeah, I think that's a good, place to like leave that story with us about making sure we document everything, making sure that it's, you're very good at just communicating with the client, but don't make it personal. I like that note that you make. Don't make it personal. It's their money after all. If they want to tank it, as long as you've given your advice that you could, let them do what they want to do. All right. Thank you so much, Dean, for sharing that story. We're now going to go to another part of the show of kind of putting the spotlight with other accounts and other mistakes that you've seen? I mean, technically you did share like more like an agency making mistake, but like maybe like things in terms of like account setups that you've seen in terms of when your agency has won a account or you just started working on a client. What are some mistakes that you're like, it's really shocking you that those kind of things are still happening?
I think number one, pixel setup,
Okay.
not having your pixels set up correctly
Yeah.
for any platform and not tracking the correct data and events.
Yeah.
Huge, huge mistake.
What goes wrong? What how do you get pixel set up wrong?
You'd be quite surprised, to be honest. I think pixel installation is just something that you either, as a paid person, you're either like super up for it and you can install a lot of pixels and it doesn't really give you much issues, or it's more of a technical thing that you'd rather have like a technical person kind of do it, like
Right.
maybe a CRO person or
Right. Yeah.
someone who handles your server management, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But what are the most common mistakes in the pixel setup that you see going wrong?
Not having server side tracking, not having
Okay.
enhanced conversions,
Okay.
or just, yeah, having the wrong event set up, particularly in Meta due to their naming conventions. I've seen people just not tracking the correct
Right.
metrics, or they think they are, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that kind of task I'll definitely give to someone more technical. I think I will probably assume that I've got it right, but I'll just not be sure and it's probably doing the wrong things. Yeah, I think those kind of things, if you're not 100% sure, give it to someone who's 100% sure, or make sure at least you run it by someone who's 100% sure about how it gets set up so that they can be like, okay, this is what I've done. Can you double check that I did the right thing? Because, yeah, tracking is everything. You can set up an amazing campaign, put a great setup together. If you're not tracking the right thing, you're not proving conversion of revenue to your client, you might as well have wasted your whole time doing that whole setup. So yeah, make sure that all your efforts don't go for naught by, messing up pixel tracking. So yeah, no, very, very important point. And how about in terms of AI? We said in your introduction, in your bio that, your agency, you guys are very AI native, kind of ways of setting up. So, but like, what are some mistakes of doing or of relying on AI even that we're making at the moment that people should be wary of?
I'd say number one is using it to do more of a wrong thing faster.
Okay.
AI won't fix a bad brief or a bad strategy. It'll just scale it.
Yeah.
The thinking still has to come first.
Yeah.
The tool is only as good as the direction you give it.
Yeah.
So you need to really think about what you're asking it, the prompts, the kind of data that you're feeding it, and being just not taking the first answer, and also quizzing it and yourself and your strategy.
Yeah.
Run it
Yeah.
through multiple times, ask various questions, sense check yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Making sure that you're sensory checking things. And I feel like another aspect that has been um, more prevalent, I've been hearing more about more recently, which I'm like totally agreement and follows on very nicely from what you've just said, is the fact that the AI is not accountable. So if you get things wrong and you just think that everything's gonna be correct and you just take AI, as Bible gospel and send it to your client, they're not gonna be like, "Oh, we understand that it's wrong because it was AI." They're gonna be like, "How dare you show this to us?" That's why you'll get fired. AI doesn't lose income.
It's
You're the
so
one that's
true.
gonna lose income.
It says it at the bottom of the screen now. For example, Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double check responses. It will also just agree with whatever you say because
Yeah.
they want to keep you on there.
Yeah.
So ask it or tell it, don't just agree with me, or am I being balanced here? Ask those kind of questions and dig down a little deeper.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's used at your discretion. I don't know why. All of a sudden I was thinking of cigarette packets and its warnings, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
smoking kills. And sometimes they show you a very
It's
graphic
like, hey, we
image.
said it. We said
No,
it.
we said it. It's make your own, make your own choices here, guys. Make sensible choices. Claude is not. They're not going to take accountability for your mistakes about using the output from AI however you want to use it. So, yeah, be careful. Be careful. In that area. Okay, well, look, Dean, this has been a fantastic conversation. We've gone through the different aspects, giving us a great story, giving us some mistakes that you've seen in the industry. Yes, guys, set up your pixel properly, and with AI, handle with care. Listen to the warnings, pay attention to the warnings, and make sure you use it what it's supposed to be used for. It's not supposed to replace your brain. Use your brain when you're using AI, and make sure that the people who are getting the output of your work recognize your brain work in what they're seeing. So yeah, all of that is definitely very important. But yeah, we're gonna come to a close here. But before we leave you, just one last question. Never very fun, like not really PPC question. If your PPC career were a movie, what would the title be?
Heat.
Heat. Okay,
Heat.
why Heat? Explain that with us. You came up with that very straight and strong.
I'm just cooking at full gas.
Really,
I'm bringing that heat. Yeah.
that's good. Are your clients enjoying the heat? You feel
My clients love the heat. And if you guys want to know more about what I do and what I'm doing, I am documenting my journey, I'm documenting my clients' journeys. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok,
nice?
dean.kadi. I'm sure
Lovely.
Anu will
We'll
feature that
share the
somewhere.
links. Absolutely. We'll share the links. We'll feature it. And yeah, if you're listening to this from or you're seeing this clip from Instagram and TikTok, hi, please go to podcast.ppc.live and follow us on our journey and see more of the other excellent stories like Dean has shared here about mistakes that are happening in the industry. They so are. Why I really think this conversation is really important is because there's so much development and, AI and updates and new features and everything that you should be doing. And that's why the PPC Live events happen. We're going to be talking about AI workflows at the next event. We're going to be talking about, DSA leaving. What are the checklists that you should make? Really the practical steps on what you should be doing. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys join that. And I hope you've learned a lot from Dean here today. He will be at some other events where it's where he will have to be tight-lipped at the moment as to where he's going to be speaking at. But look out, follow him on his journey as he shares out on Instagram and TikTok. I'm sure he'll drop new information as to where you can see him speaking again before the end of the year. But yeah. Apart from that, thank you so much, Dean, for joining today. And yeah, I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Thank you for having me. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much, Dean, for sharing that very honest and transparent experience. And yeah, being honest about that experience with a client that got that wrong. That was a big mistake. When everything is going well, turning all of that off. Yeah, previous guests have spoken about that, about the importance of, doing, especially with account structures, making sure you don't turn your best campaigns off. But yeah, very interesting to hear about when clients just don't get it. So yeah, but remember, make sure that you're still being respectful of your client, realizing it's their budget, get everything in writing or, so that when those things do go wrong, you are prepared for it and you're prepared to be like, well, not to do a whole snooty, we told you so, but to do a whole, like, if they start accusing you, you can bring the proof that you warned them against this. So yeah, that's what all those documentations are for. So yeah, for all the information, full information and the full transcript of that fantastic discussion, please go to podcast.ppc.live where you'll get the full details and all the links that we shared. Yeah, PPC Live event updates. If you're listening to this just before July 29th, I'm excited that we've got our lineup ready. We've got Scott Caruthers, Veronica Holler. We've got, what's the last name? I will remember this. Oh God, I've got it right here. Scott Caruthers, Veronica Holler, Charlotte Osborne, Harriet Fitzgerald. We're going to be talking about programmatic, but also talking about AI with the whole being able to, bring Claude into the AI system. We're going to be talking about a good workflow for that. We're also going to be talking about, DSA going away, and how to actually, what are your checklists to ensure that when DSA goes away and you're moving into AI Max, you know exactly what to do. Also, yeah, future proofing your role in PPC. Scott is going to be talking to us about what the mindset shift needs to be to ensure that the paid set practitioner role is still being efficient, is still what it needs to be for an agency, for a client, for everyone in the industry. So yeah, join us for that on July the 29th. If you're listening to this before mid-June, before June 14th, go get your early bird sale ticket. After June 14th, the prices are going to go up, and the week of itself, I'm going to increase the price. It's already being put on an automated system, so that is going to go ahead. There's no changing of my mind for that one. So yeah, please try to get the cheapest version of these tickets, and it's going to be a fantastic party. We're going to be celebrating our 4th anniversary of PPC Live being a thing. So there's going to be cake. We're going to be having it at 1:30 in the afternoon so that we can make the most of the sunlight and the daylight, and be able to go for like a party in the bear garden that is happening. That is literally 2 doors down from the event space that we're going to be in. So yeah, please join us. Go to ppc.live for a ticket. It's going to be an amazing party, amazing show, amazing learning, an amazing collaboration where everybody is going to feel like they've been heard and they've connected with somebody. So yeah, I hope you join us for that. Before I leave you, I am delighted to share that I am taking on coaching clients. So yeah, if you go to themarketinganu.com, you'll be able to find details about how to book my time. You can get a 15-minute free discovery call so that we can discuss exactly what it is that you need and what issues that you're facing, whether it's looking for that new job, new opportunity, or actually staying where you are, but you want to grow somehow, grow in your confidence, grow in asking for a pay rise, grow in asking for a job promotion, a title change. I'm actually going through that right now. So yeah, let's discuss how you build the confidence to actually do that. But yeah, so go to the marketing Anu to book that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Thank you. Bye.